Hi there. Thank you very much for having me, Granny. Thank you very much to you all for being here. It's always a great, it's always exciting to be able to talk with this kind of audience, people that are like ready to build what tomorrow's world will be. And it's also I think an opportunity also for sharing a bit of what I'm seeing, but at the same time also hearing about what afterwards you have to say. So of course, Cranny has this starting point where we're doing all these speaking, but afterwards, you know, it's all about work. So it's very important for you to pick whatever you can pick from and you find useful from my talk, and move on from there. So I'll just jump in I brought a small presentation. It's nothing that serious. So here I am. So I'm going then to talk a bit about emerging tech, privacy, and social development, in the sense that I firmly believe that these two are absolutely entangled. And by entangled, I mean that they are so connected that it's really important for us to talk about all these three at the same time. But let's start by seeing what the next decade's new technologies are. And as you can see, there are a lot of new technologies on their way. And furthermore, more than that, you will see that you have a lot of new technologies already in our lives. So right now, who can conceive their life without mobile phones or smartphones? I'm kind of a dinosaur, so I come from a world without the internet. You can conceive that. Furthermore, the issue is, at this point, how do you conceive like a web without memes or without like emojis? All of those didn't exist 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So talking about the new technologies, these emerging technologies appearing, is talking also about this transformational part that suddenly happens everywhere, and that suddenly everyone is using, and that also changes continuously and in a very quick way our habits, our work habits, and also the way that we interact with each other. So let's focus on the 5 technologies that are going to grow in 2020. And due to COVID, of course, they will stretch into 2021. So we're talking about computer vision, edge computing, blockchain, 5G, and artificial intelligence as a service. So let me talk to you a bit about each one of them and how they can relate directly to us. So talking, for instance, about 5G, we're talking about having the possibility of like streaming everything. So we won't be downloading anything. We will always be streaming. It's great. So suddenly we will be able to like stream directly onto our smartphones the whole season of our preferred series in like 10 seconds. It's wow. It's completely transformational, right? So if you connect that with the amount of data that the Internet of Things right now is generating. So for instance, you have our house, our car, our smartphones, of course, but sometimes our fridges, our toasters, so our tables, they are generating a lot of data related directly with, pretty much our habits. And what they do is actually generate the ability or they generate ways for us as consumers also to have a better life, to enjoy more comfort when, for instance, ordering online, and also for companies to become much more productive and to become much more efficient, right? So add to that, to 5G, the second, which is edge computing. So edge computing, the concept is like having the ability with all these speeds, having the ability to have like a processing unit out there on the cloud that does the hard work, the processing work, for your smartphone. So for instance, let's say that you remember those 3D models that are really heavy, really heavy, that you cannot open, that take ages to, well, create, to render. So you can have like a huge 3D model of, for instance, well, your university, downloaded directly or streamed directly into your smartphone, because, well, the edge computer will do all the processing and will be streaming continuously to you as you just walk around. So, and you will be able to actually visit that specific model. And how will you be able to visit it? Well, you can just like see it and work it inside that specific, like in your smartphone, a very small screen, or you can see it on a bigger screen, or you can actually see it on augmented reality. Yet another thing that happens is this ability that we have, that with 5G and edge computing, we have the ability also to like scan with our smartphones and continuously be sending information to an edge computer, to a cloud of the world that surrounds us. So we will be able to actually do like a 3D model of the world. And right now you have companies like Niantic, companies like Microsoft, like Google, already doing this, and in such a way that it allows us, and it will allow us to create like persistent augmented reality experiences. And that's pretty much where most of my recent experience is. So pretty much I am very enthusiastic about augmented reality and how it can actually transform the way that we see the world, because augmented reality overlays digital content on top of the physical world. And by doing that, it changes the meaning of spaces. It changes the meaning of objects. So it's really great in the sense that suddenly you can actually add on an empty corner of a room, you can add a portal to another dimension. You can add a portal to, well, a training site where you can actually learn. You can learn a bit more about your job or about what you're studying. You can, for instance, like make a hologram of an engine appear in front of you, and you can actually take it apart. So augmented reality will, of course, be, and I firmly believe this, it will be the interface that we will be seeing in the next decade. And this will affect all of us that work in UX, all of us that work on design, all of us that work with IT will be affected by this, in the sense that suddenly all the contents will be, well, I wouldn't say geographically located. They are going to be spatial. So we will be talking about spatial content a lot in the coming decade. So this content will be also interacted in several new ways. So we will be able not just to see things that aren't there, but we will also be able to give voice commands. We will also be able to, well, touch, to like turn, to grab, to absolutely transform also and mold the objects. Even the movement, the body movement, we will be able to go around each one of the holograms or the experiences and to interact with it. And mind you, we can actually have shared experiences like these three guys with those chunky smart glasses. Of course, these are the HoloLens one. Of course, we will have, starting the first quarter of 2021, we will have sleeker smart glasses being launched by the 5 top mobile producers or mobile smartphone producers in China. But the issue is that all of them will allow for multiplayer, multi-user experiences. And that's really huge, because suddenly you will be able to like have training classes. You will be able to like share not just like educational resources with classes, but also between your work groups. You will be able to share 3D models, videos. You will be able to like produce those 3D models, produce those videos, and then share them. And even you will be able to like paint the universe, well, not the universe, but the world with all this content and leave it there for everyone to actually go in there and see it. So overall, again, we're talking about this huge, huge transformation that for sure is going to affect us in a big way. Furthermore, if we're talking about artificial intelligence as a service, and we add it to the equation. So right now we already have artificial intelligence services like Google Assistant, Siri on our smartphones, or Google Home, Amazon Alexa on our homes. So if we pick these up and we add augmented reality to the mix, we will probably be having these kind of services like augmented reality assistants that will be able to connect directly with you and personify the assistant. So this will be an even newer experience, because suddenly we're talking about the possibility of having, for instance, an assistant that, well, goes everywhere with me, that I can see, with which I can interact. And this is, yeah. And more than that, you also have probably some local assistants that will probably also be providing several kinds of services. And we're talking about services like analysis, sales also, of course, customer service, of course, but also things like having tourism guides in augmented reality. So right now with COVID, we're all about social distancing. So having the opportunity to have there an artificial intelligence, hologram of an artificial intelligence available to, give me a tour of a place is going to be, probably the way that I'm going to choose to visit that place and to know a bit more about what that heritage has to say to me. So yeah, overall, we have a lot of possibilities here. And add to that, the possibility of having, blockchain. Blockchain makes it all secure, right? Makes it all safe. And that's also a really cool thing that, that we have. So overall, what we have today are a lot of great technologies in front of us. However, and this is the moment where I just take my optimistic hat and, I'm not going to put any other hat. But it's very important for you to all understand that while I was bringing all of this to you, I was also saying that when I'm talking about IoT, I'm talking about 5G and edge computing, I'm also talking about getting devices data. When I'm talking about the AR cloud and augmented reality, I'm talking about getting the objects data, scanning the data, having the ability to actually get like 3D models of stuff all around. And that means cities. That means the world. And that means the world continuously, right? So I will be able, through my smart glasses, my smartphones, all of that, I will have that possibility. And again, even more, that the ability. So for instance, being able to like get eye tracking information, voice commands, body movement, or even gestures information is behavioral data for each one of us, right? And that for sure is going to affect how, how companies, for instance, are going to communicate with me, because all of this is data. That's pretty much one of the major things that all of these new technologies generate. More data about the world, but also more data about us. And why does, what is it valued? Why is it important? Well, of course, data can actually be used to customize our experience everywhere. So you can have, for instance, right now, a better experience at Amazon, a better experience at social networks because of data. At the same time, data is also responsible for a lot of issues, like the misusage of data, and specifically private data, like for instance the one that happened with Cambridge Analytica, but also the examples that I have here, kind of leaves us a bit worried, because for instance with the correct data we can, or with specific data, we can create deepfakes that are really, really hard to separate from the real thing. And at the same time, we can generate also fake news that can affect us at so many levels. We're talking about we're talking about political level, we're talking about social level, we're talking about in depth, we're talking about our views, our perceptions, right? And mind you, we're talking about, for instance, in augmented reality, we're talking about meddling with what people see, right? And more than that, like face recognition for specific regimes or for specific brands, that can be used in so many ways. And again, at the very end, of course, we also have the risk of identity theft. So it's very, very important that we all accept that this great new world that we have of emerging technology has a lot to offer. And by all means, if you agree with this article that you can go out and read right now, it's published on the World Economic Forum. There's no issue. I'm with you. It's pretty much okay. The most important part is that you do it freely. So, and that you are conscious about your options. So it is very, very, very important, and this is my key takeaway, that you are absolutely certain that security is not anonymity. So for instance, if we're just using blockchain or any other kind of algorithm to protect information, that doesn't necessarily make that all the other information that we are using, that it might jeopardize the information that we're protecting. So just to say that one thing doesn't actually lead to another, and anonymity is not privacy. So for instance, 95% in a Stanford study, 95% of the VR users that used VR for like 5 minutes that were in a database, after those 5 minutes data was were processed by this computer and this program that they had, they identified 95% of the people. So this to say that, again, anonymity is not privacy, and it is very important for you to safeguard yourselves and to not just protect yourselves, but also be able to understand that with your conscience, being conscientious and having a right attitude helps not just you, but also society as a whole, and also business in a way that, well, you will be creating businesses, organizations, and models leveraged on emerging technologies, but that can actually be sustainable, and that can, at the end of the day, well, make us better humans. And that's pretty much what we're here for. So that's the key takeaway. Of course, I would love if you could give me some kind of feedback through the social networks. And meanwhile, I'm going to be around also during the event, so you are more than welcome also to get in touch. And again, I would just take the time to thank you all again for this, and I hope that you have a spiffy event, and see you all each other, and we'll see each other on the other side for sure. Bye bye now.